Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, all right then. Let's
Okay.
start. Let's start.
Okay. So I've
Can Anju, don't forget to record. Sorry.
yes, I've started recording, Risma. Thank you.
Amazing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for reminding me. And I think Erica, if you can also help me just accept invite, like people joining into the call. And sorry, hi, I just saw you.
No problem.
That would be helpful. Okay, welcome everyone. I know you're all used to seeing Tunde here, normally introducing on this call, but he has recently had a baby and is out on paternity leave. So I'm covering for him today. I'll start with a quick introduction to myself. My name is Anshu Grover. I work as part of HP Social Impact team. I'm based out of New York, and I work very closely with Hakeem, Rizma, Tunde on this 1 million teacher and HP partnership. I also want to now welcome Iffy, who is our speaker for today's session. She works as Director of Strategy and Planning for our Sustainable Impact team. And one of her many past roles have also been serving as the Managing Director for Central Africa. I think over the last few months, I have been super lucky to have experienced Iffy's leadership firsthand, and I'm truly grateful for her taking out the time from her super busy schedule today for this session. So thank you so much, Iffy, for joining, and like over to you now.
Thank you, Anshu. Anshu, you've been so kind in your introduction. Thank you. So I think the feeling is mutual. That's something I have to add before I kick off, right? It's been such a pleasure and it will still continue to be. So working with you, Anshu, it's you are one of those that shine the light in, the social impact work and all we do in HP. So for those who don't know this, Anshu and her team won a terrific award. Anshu, I won't take your thunder from it. So you have to tell everyone about it because it's recent, it's amazing, it's global.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Iffy. So our HP Social Impact team, which is a seven member team, we were recently awarded the Time Magazine Team of the Year award. So, and of course, it's been a great honor, and we definitely did not expect this, but we truly are grateful for the honor and being appreciated for our work. And thanks to 1 million teachers and the entire team for being a part of our social impact work.
So to put it in context for everyone, Anshu was right
Congratulations.
next to Taylor Swift, up there in the billboard.
Yeah. If you, I don't know if I can just chime in a bit. I was typing about it actually. I mean, like this is so what a rare honor and to see people who put their heart and soul into making life better for so many people. I think we at 1 million teachers we witness firsthand. People read about this publicly, but we get the privilege to work with Anshu and team, and it's just mind blowing. People show up every day because they care, they're passionate, and this is the kind of thing we hope that this kind of attitude is transferred to our teachers, people making a lot of difference that are inspired, regardless of how difficult things can be. So it's been a privilege. I know how we were celebrating it like it was our own win. It is our win. It is everybody's win. So this is not just about the digital equity team or HP alone. It's a signal to everybody else that, regardless of where you are, you can make a difference. And I don't even think the HP team appreciate the magnitude of the work that they're doing. So it may seem like disconnected, but if you can relate with what is going on in most of this region firsthand, and it's so massive, until you witness it, it doesn't get real for you. So we will never stop celebrating this team, regardless of whether they continue to win year in year out, but we think they will. But yeah, it's such a privilege. I just wanted to use this opportunity again because of the teachers who are here who probably didn't hear about it. Yeah.
Thanks, Hakim. I think you worded it perfectly. So, as we kick off, I wanted to officially welcome everyone And one of anytime I speak or anytime I participate in any session, I always encourage a lot of the interaction, right? It's especially now that we're talking about transformational leadership, which goes down to how you relate as a human being, how you bring in and draw a person in. I want us to also exemplify this in this session. Let's hold each other accountable. Let's speak up and speak out, and let's learn together. That's the essence of why we're here. So with that, I just had a few slides that I would call talk tracks, really, just to set the stage on what the discussion is. But in my usual style, I wouldn't necessarily speak to it. I will speak about it, and I will invite you all to join me as we, take it apart and understand clearer what it entails, right? So let me go into a presentation mode. We're here talking about transformational leadership today, and I want to be able to bring it close to home within our education field and see what it means and what we ourselves, I keep saying our because I believe that parents are also invited to that table of educators. So, and personally myself, growing up within an environment of educators, maybe I didn't share that at the beginning, but my parents are also into the education field. That's how I grew up. That's what I'm used to. For those who reside in Nigeria, I don't know if you know of Chelis Bukazin. That's the business we started together when I was younger, and I was employed there whether I liked it or not. So as a young student, that every holiday job was done there, every weekend job was done there, and it shaped a lot of the way I view things, my viewpoints on life in general, and being able to take that learning into school, outside of school with my peers, that was the biggest blessing I got. So in my own way, I'm trying to make sure that I create those environments that invite people to be able to share in whatever knowledge that I can offer. Um, Now, let me just mute this. I'm also getting the alerts of people wanting to join. So I'm going to close this page so I don't get distracted.
Some of us are working on it.
Okay, so when we talk about leadership in general, it's a very general term and it looks different from place to place, right? Or from companies or institutions or industry to industry. But the general concept is that a good leader embodies all of these characteristics and more. But these are the common ones that you see across. If you ask anyone, what makes this person a good leader? What makes your leader a good leader? These are common terms that you would hear. But when you press the button further into transformational leadership, it covers majority or most of these features, but this emphasis of transformational leadership resides in a style that is able to focus primarily on being able to be motivational in your approach, inspire others to do things that they ordinarily would not imagine that they can do. And in turn, what this means is that you're able to enable, whether it's the students or educators around you, or even parents in that way, to be able to achieve higher level of performance and personal development. This is the essence of transformational leadership. It's a leadership style that must transform. Um, I love it in its definition, but I love it more in its action, because unlike most world definition of leaders, a transformational leader can be anyone if you really think about it. If you take your mind back to everyone who played a part in, and in Africa, we always say it takes a village, right? And it takes a village everywhere in the world, but we bring it into a lot of our community-based approach of raising kids or, of living generally. But when you think back on how many people had that level of influence in your life, you realize that you can pinpoint several forms or several transformational leaders who have contributed in one way or the other into shaping you to the individual you are today. It's the same call to action that transformational leadership is beckoning to everyone to. We should be able to see ourselves in that light, to be able to step in and provide what's missing for a child to be able to foster and grow in the future, right? Other aspects of transformational leadership includes, being able to, the visionary approach, being able to envision the future. Some of it I just wrote out here, right? Fostering a positive and inclusive school culture. All of this stems from your passion as an individual. And as we have a number of people coming in, I'm just going to switch a bit to the screen in front of me. How many of us are teachers here today, active educators? I see hands going up. Okay, great. More hands, more hands. So we do have a good
Everybody
collection.
here except a few of us, maybe about 4 of us.
Well, you are teaching in a different way. I'll come to you, but I'm just
Yes.
asking in terms of people in a classroom, right? In a classroom setting, right? Okay, so we do have majority of the folks here as teachers. And as we go on, I would really love to learn and listen to a lot of your experiences and we dialogue across, right? I love an intimate setting where it's in such a way that we can learn from each other, right? And looking through at the number of people in, I think we can definitely achieve that without blowing the time. And we walk out of here feeling like we've learned a thing or two from our peers and everyone around us with different experiences. All right. Now, when you read through a lot of studies on transformational leadership, one thing you would find is that um, this style of leadership has been particularly pushed for environments that are, rapidly changing, environments that are dynamic in nature, right? And the reason why that is because if you put yourself in that scenario where there's a lot that you have to contend with, not just changes that are coming from within your institution, but changes that are coming around and out of your institution that impacts you, impacts your students, impacts your school. How do you deal with those changes is extremely crucial. And that's where transformational leadership comes in. If you do not embody these features of a transformational leader, dealing with this level of change or rapid change and dealing with it in such a way that you can also provide that level of support for whether it's your students or your peers, it's going to be extremely difficult. If everyone else is looking for someone to motivate them, someone to get them out of the mental space they're in at that moment. Who's going to do that job? Who's going to be that leader, that transformational leader that will be able to share their passion and enthusiasm across the room? That has to be us. And we come from, let's not kid ourselves. We do come from a rapidly changing educational environment, right? And what we do about that is what matters, right? And that's why I think that as we start to go into the dialogue part of this session, it will be interesting to understand what already is happening today, what you're already doing today, and what more you can do going forward. Now, there's some key tenets or key characteristics that really stand out in transformational leadership. And I'm just going to call out three major ones and we speak to it within it, right? Positive change is one that you'll always hear about. It's probably always one that bubbles up to the top when you talk about transformational leadership. it starts with the vision, right? You have to be able to not only envision where the direction of your institution or the direction of your learning, the learning journey that you're providing to the students, but you have to be able to clearly communicate it in a way a person understands, right? And a way a person can utilize and apply within their scheme of things, right? So when we talk about leading positive change, that ability to clearly communicate this vision across all the stakeholders, right? The audience is extremely important. You don't want a situation where you're sitting with an idea that will revolutionarily create a huge positive impact with what you do in the school or how you do it, and you're speaking to the wrong people, or you're speaking with a subset of people that can't take that idea forward. So the audience also matters. A transformational leader is one who does not shy away from sharing those thoughts, sharing those ideas, sharing, the excitement that goes with those ideas, right? I often used to tell my team that if you tell a story that you don't believe in, right, but you tell the story well, everyone will walk away having heard a great story, right? But if you tell a story and not only do you believe in the story, you exude it, right? Everyone can feel your passion about the story you're telling. People don't only walk away knowing what you've told, but they walk away with a piece of that feeling, right? And that's what transformational leadership is about. You need to be able to share in that enthusiasm, share it across the room. Everyone gets a nod of head, not just because they see it, not just because you've clearly communicated it, because they can feel the success of that idea, right? And that's what the positive change leadership across leading based on positive change is about. I think the picture sort of depicts it in a way, right? Where you've been rowing for hours and hours, your body is tired. There's a lot of fatigue that sets in. But when you look towards that leader calling out the rows, and you can still see the passion in the person's eyes, you find that your hands will start to roll without you even telling it to, right? And that's the part we have to play as leaders today. The second area that often bubbles up is, developing that culture, the culture of innovation, culture of creativity. Many people would call it a culture of continuous innovation because it never stops, or continuous creativity. This is an environment where your students feel motivated, not just compelled, but motivated to be able to do the right things, feel empowered with having the right tools, the right support, the right coverage to be able to do these things and take this risk, right? And be also feeling the passion to be able to take up new ideas, new ways of thinking, new approaches to problem solving. Now, this is growing up. I can tell you that in all the schools I went to, I felt this empowered to be able to think and go after this. But that's the beauty of the environment. It's changing, and it's changing quickly. And we have to get with that change. We have to be there for the students to accommodate them during this change. I had teachers who really pushed me to keep thinking, keep trying. And I had teachers who held me back for sake of protection, really, because that's what they knew at the time. They told me, this was in my elementary school. I had a teacher who felt very protective of me, and felt like she was also going to teach me about being an African woman as well, not being too loud, not being too forceful about things, not arguing, even though you believe that you have the right answer. So that in a way is how you can shape a child's vision, or a child's viewpoint on life. that was what she could give me from the nuggets that she received, right? But her approach was an approach of, she came from a point of care and protection, right? Now, going further, I was able to meet other educators and other teachers who were able to give some color to that mindset, right? And why I'm giving you this example is because we realize just how much influential educators are. My kids, when they go to school and come back, I try to spend some time with them going over what they learned, but I know that what they've been able to gather or what they've been able to learn from their teachers will stick with them for a long, long time. So I don't underestimate the power of that influence of the teachers and of the educators. So let's not play down, how much of an influence we have on the students today. Instead, let's use it to our advantage and use it to correct any thinking or any viewpoints they are gathering from anywhere else across that isn't from us. And let's use that to rekindle the fire, the learning fire in them. On the last bullet or on the last frame, it speaks to an individualized approach where a leader, a transformation leader, in this case, like we mentioned, can be teachers, educators in general, will be able to devote the time needed and the attention and the support needed to be able to understand what an individual needs to succeed. We know that in a classroom, there are often folks who, everyone is at a development stage, at a different development stage. Each person's learning journey does not always match up to the standard or does not look the same across the room, right? Being able to have an individualized approach means that you not only carry everyone along, but you understand what makes each person tick, what makes each person feel motivated. Motivation points are also different across the room because a lot of it has to do with a lot of socioeconomic factors, sometimes from where the students are coming from, their homes, or what they're exposed to, or the setup that they have. And it looks different for each person, right? So understanding which student needs your additional help and involvement, understanding to what extent you can provide that, and being able to make sure that whatever extent you're able to provide it, you are magnifying it in the best way possible, whether it's through mentorship or coaching, whether it's through setting the right goals with these students, whether it's through providing support that they don't have today available to them. That individualized approach is a key element of transformational leadership. Today, in a lot of facilities, schooling facilities, there's a lot of adaptation or use of data-driven decision-making, as they call it. So where decisions are made out of whether it's the results or the survey or the questionnaires, or whatever the case is, data that is provided at individual level, where schools are able to make key decisions. Now that's good because that's where a lot of the solutions we provide in HB comes into play. That's good to have that, but let's not also forget that it's a responsibility of these transformational leaders to be able to interpret this data with a viewpoint of where the student is. It doesn't take away the individualized approach. Now, the data helps you see things in a very horizontal way, but then your ability to extract that data and interpret it in the best way that you can be able to provide a solution that is almost tailor-made to the student. That's where you come in as a transformational leader. We talk about AI in the world today. AI has a lot of use cases, has a lot of benefits, has a lot of opportunities, but AI will never replace the core of a transformational leader. So let's remember that AI or data, whether it's big data, whatever the case, will always do its job, will always help with the decision making. And these softwares are there to be able to provide us with information that, we would ordinarily not be able to compute at that level. But this is where you come in. Don't forget that you are the integral part of this equation. And I think if we generally, there are other concepts or tenets of a transformation leader, I can send that across, but I'm also mindful of the time we have. The whole concept or the whole objective of introducing this style of teaching, this style of leadership, this style in a lot of institutions today is to be able to curb all the factors that students and teachers are faced with today, to be able to improve learning in the way that it's supposed to be taught, received, and used. So I hope that we will be able to have more time in the future to dive further into giving more relatable examples. And I do hope that we will be able to have, maybe I'm inviting myself, Anshu, but this is a great topic. And I think that we will be able to benefit from a lot of I would say best case or best use sharing across the room. Okay. All right. With that, I know that there's 2 minutes left as I'm glancing over at my time. I'll just pause for a moment and invite you all to, just share a bit of your thoughts, whatever you would like to share across this topic, questions, thoughts.
Any questions? We have just a couple of minutes, and thank you, Ify. We will invite you again for sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Any?
yes, definitely. I really enjoyed the talk. I think it does open the doors for much more conversation, because this is what 1 million teachers is all about. We are transformational leaders. We want to create impact. We want to create a change. And it would be nice to hear about individual examples and individual cases of how we try to transform the organizations we work for, the schools, the children. You've given us the guidelines, but what is the reality that we face in our day-to-day lives? I know a lot of our teachers work with private organizations, and they sometimes say, oh, we learned so much from our 1 million teachers modules, but it's how we then implement this in our schools, because our school owners, our school leaders are old school or this or that. So I'm sure there are some teachers that have questions on how to go about that, how to go about implementing, about all the new ideas and innovations that they're learning. So that is kind of my broad question. How individually, how we become transformational leaders with all the new developments in the world of education, like you spoke about data and use of AI, use of technology. But most of the teachers are working on the private school organizations. How do they go about that? That is my kind of open question for you, and I would love you to come back so that we can talk a bit more about this topic. Yeah.
That will be fantastic, Fatima. Thank you. And just being respectful that we're on time, I will be able to work with Anshu and see how I can force my way back in, literally, so we can be able to, because I know she has a well-planned agenda, so I'm going to have to beckon her to move some things around.
We'll figure out a way, if we don't worry.
Okay, great.
We will get to.
Okay, awesome. So I think when we do go into the double click, so the next step to this, we do need to, I won't be the only person speaking. We're going to be able to speak like a round table, right? I want to be able to hear and interact and, react to a lot of things that we're facing. And I want to be able to learn from everyone, right? So I'm here as a parent, as as a wonderful product of great educators over the years, and I want to be able to learn from you all and understand exactly what are the intricacies you're facing within your current organizations. Okay.
Okay, so black belts or mentors, if anybody wants to ask any questions regarding any challenges they're facing in being transformational leaders, you've got a few minutes. Anybody have any questions?
And if I want to also check with you if you have like a few minutes, or I know your schedule is normally very, very busy, so I just want to be mindful of that as well.
Unfortunately, I am getting pinged for a different meeting that I didn't inform them that I will be late for. So that's always the problem. When I saw 30 minutes, my heart skipped a bit. That I wanted to tell you, Anshu, we need 1 hour at the least. So, but this is a good intro, and we can it sets for
we can have a follow-up call, I
yes.
think, for questions and more. I think that sounds good, Ify, and I really don't want to keep you away from. I know you have like back-to-back full schedule for sure, So like I will not hold you back for that. We can have a part 2. You're right, Hakeem. We can organize that.
All right, great. Lovely meeting everyone. I hope to see you back again. And when we come back, we're not going to use the mute button. We're going to speak. We're going to talk. We're going to get down to details. Okay?
Yes.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Ify. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
So our mentors, I think the next meeting will be our graduation next month. I think it's been 6 months that we started. We started in September. And then maybe after the graduation, we can arrange a meeting with Ify when we start to the next cohort. So somebody's asking, follow-up meeting will be, follow-up meeting will be great, but I think the mentorship is coming to a close. It's been 6 months since September. So we'll arrange the meeting with Ify sometime in the future, maybe in 2 months' time. But I know March is marked down for graduation for HP Mark 4. Okay. All right. Thank you for all those that attended. Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye,
Enjoy the rest of
bye.
your evening. Thank you.
Bye,
Good
ma'am.
night, everyone. Okay,
Thank you so
night.
much. Bye. Bye.
Good night, everyone. Good night, everyone.
Good night, too.